rules.
Hello everybody, I'm Matt Brown. I'm your Quizmaster for the evening, so I'm going to radically change the pace of things now and put the show in your hands. It's your turn to contribute with our science quiz. I'll be facting you hard about physics, neutrinos, outer space, all these kind of physics things you've been hearing about tonight. But don't worry, there will be no questions about interpretive dance. So, there are two ways you can enter the quiz tonight. If you brought pen and paper along, I would say that's by far the easiest way. You can scribble down the answers on that piece of paper. Now make sure if you do that, you have your name at the top of the paper, so if you happen to win, we can attribute the prize to you. The other way you can enter tonight, those of you with smartphones, we're going to be doing hashtags on Twitter. So get your phones ready, and I'll explain how that works in a moment. But have your phones ready and open on Twitter. Okay. So this is how we're going to do it. For those of you on Twitter, there'll be 10 questions. Each question, what you do, you write at the gung ho down, hash, and then the question number. So question 1, question 2, and then the answer to the question. I'll just give you a second to absorb that. While you're doing that, my name's Matt Brown. I used to be a scientist, I'm not anymore, I'm a recovering scientist. These days I run a website called Londonist, which is all about this great city and everything in it. And I occasionally, I still have a hangover from my science days and do things like this occasionally. So okay, we'll get on with the quiz. Your first question. Is the jugular a vein or an artery? It's a binary question. Ooh. Is the jugular the name of tonight's event? Is it a vein or is it an artery? Either write it on your piece of paper or tweet that at address with hash Q1 on the end and then your answer. For each question I'll pause for about a minute so you've got time to think or to type in your answer to Twitter. Okay, and those with paper, remember to have a team name or a person name at the top so we know who you are. Moving on to question 2. Which particle shares its name with a character from Star Trek and a type of soft cheese? And I'll also add a type of publishing software. As a third clue. Which particle shares its name with a character from Star Trek and a type of soft cheese? Those on Twitter, at the gung ho down, hash question 2, followed by your answer. There's no particle called the Kirk. Question 3. Easy one. Name the galaxy in which we live. The popular name, probably the scientific name, I'm not quite sure, but the name most people use when referring to the galaxy in which we live. For those on Twitter, that's question 3, at the gung ho down, hash question 3, or Q3, and then your answer. be a pause in the middle for 2 minutes, so if you need to catch up your tweeting, you can. We'll move on to question 4. Add the number of protons in a helium atom to the meaning of life. Add the number of protons in a helium atom to the meaning of life, which has been disclosed in numerical form within popular culture. Okay, question 5. How many women have walked on the moon? A more straightforward question. How many women have walked on the moon? Axe the gung-ho down, hash Q5, followed by your answer. So just a brief pause. I've put the first 5 questions up on the screen again. I'll wait 2 minutes while you think over those, and then I'll be back with question 6. Pass through or hit the earth. What's the source? Not all, but most. Question 7. What name is given to the point of infinite density at the centre of a black hole? We didn't really have any talks about black holes tonight. It's the singularity. Sorry. What name is given to the point of infinite density at the centre of a black hole? And we will, I'm told, have a talk about this very shortly. But you have to enter now. Question 8. This goes back to the chaos theory talk we just had from Martin. In which film does Jeff Goldblum play an expert in chaos theory? There are 2 possible answers here, but they're related. This is question 8, hash Q8 on your Twitter. Which film does Jeff Goldblum play an expert in chaos theory? Okay, the penultimate question now, question 9. Whose first tweet on the 19th of November 2008 was, "I'm way cool, nearly built, and I need a name." Obviously, it was nameless at the time, but what did he, she, or it subsequently become known as? Whose first tweet? In 2008, and it is related to science in some way. I'm way cool, I'm nearly built, and I need a name. your final question tonight. This is one that probably no one in the room will actually know the answer to. This is a tie-break question, because you've all clearly got 9 out of 9, and we need to distinguish between you. So the idea here is to get as close to the number as you possibly can. There may be one person in the room who knows the answer, but I suspect the rest of you won't. So have your best guess ready. Question 10. How many planets have been identified around other stars as of today? The number changes very, very regularly.
What time is it?
So this is identified around other stars and peer-reviewed and published in the literature. How many planets are there around other stars? Have a guess. It's according to Wikipedia. Right, I'm going to put all 10 questions on the screen and leave it there for a minute or two while you digest that. Very small writing, I hope you read it. Also at the bottom there are 4 questions that our speakers have asked for you to also think about, and if you want to tweet answers into those, you're very welcome to, and it'll be very useful to you organisers tonight. That's all for me. I shall be back shortly with some answers, but I'll leave those questions on the screen for you to digest and whatever unfolds around. I don't know how they're going to interpret this with dance and things, but they're probably not. But I'll leave it there. Thank you.